They laughed at primitive supercarrier until they realized humans built it. The day the aliens came changed everything. It was a Tuesday morning when huge ships appeared in Earth's skies. They called themselves the Galactic Confederation, a group of 32 advanced alien species who ruled most of the known galaxy. Admiral Jiwoo stood on the bridge of Earth's newest and greatest achievement, the HMS Thunderbolt. It was humanity's first true space supercarrier, built with everything Earth's best scientists could create. The ship stretched nearly 2 kilometers long, with its dark hull gleaming under the stars. "They're hailing us again," said Officer Sunju, her fingers moving quickly over the control panel. Admiral Jiwoo nodded. "Put them through." The main screen flickered to life, showing the blue-skinned alien diplomat named Tark. His 4 eyes blinked at different times, and his mouth formed what might have been a smile. "Greetings again, humans," Tark said. "Our science team has finished studying your vessel's specifications. The Confederation would like to invite your representatives to our meeting chamber to discuss your position in galactic society." Jiwoo didn't miss the pause. "We would be honored," she replied carefully. 6 hours later, Admiral Jiwoo led a small team through the massive alien mothership. Everything was sleek, glowing with strange light. No visible seams anywhere, no buttons, no screens. The aliens simply waved their hands and things happened. The meeting chamber held representatives from 12 different alien species. Some looked almost human. Others were so strange that Jiwoo couldn't even tell where their faces were. The head of the Confederation, a tall being named Maru, stood at the center. "Humans," he began, "we welcome Earth to the galactic community. Your species has achieved space travel much earlier than most. This is unusual." Officer Sunju whispered to Jiwoo, "I don't think that was a compliment." Maru continued, "After reviewing your technology, we have decided to offer Earth Protectorate status. This means we will protect your world and guide your development." "And what does Earth give in return?" Jiwoo asked. "Resources, of course, and your people may serve on our ships in simple roles. With time and training, humans might advance to more important positions." Jiwoo kept her face neutral. "I would like to show you what humans can already do. The Thunderbolt is our newest vessel. Perhaps you'd like to tour it." The aliens exchanged looks. Tark made a sound like stones falling. It took Jiwoo a moment to realize he was laughing. "We have already scanned your vessel," Maru said. "While impressive for your species, it is quite basic. You still use physical controls, combustion engines, metal plating, projectile weapons." Each word dripped with greater disbelief. Still, Jiwoo insisted, "I think you might find some aspects interesting." The next day, 6 alien representatives followed Jiwoo through the Thunderbolt. Their faces showed clear amusement at the ship's primitive design. "You actually need people to control these systems?" asked Tark, pointing at a weapons station where Officer Donghun worked. "Our ships run themselves." "We prefer the human touch," Jiwoo replied. "Machines make mistakes. Advanced systems do not," said another alien, Ken. Her skin shimmered like oil on water. "Your energy output is barely enough to power our smallest shuttles." They reached the engine room, where Chief Engineer Hyejin was running tests. The aliens studied the massive fusion engines with what could only be described as pity. "This technology is at least 300 years behind current standards," Tark said. "How do you even reach light speed?" "We manage," Hyejin said with a slight smile. As they left the ship, Jiwoo overheard Ken speaking to Tark. "It's almost cute, like watching children playing with toys." That evening, the Confederation officially welcomed Earth as a protectorate planet. The aliens promised to share some basic technology to help humans catch up. In return, Earth would provide raw materials and simple labor. After the ceremony, Jiwoo returned to the Thunderbolt. In her private quarters, she pressed her hand against a hidden panel. A section of wall slid open, revealing a small room filled with technology nothing like what the aliens had seen. "Begin Phase 2, she said into a communicator. "They've taken the bait." Throughout the massive ship, hidden compartments opened. True weapon systems powered up. The real Thunderbolt was waking up, nothing like the primitive vessel the aliens thought they'd seen. 3 months had passed since the aliens of the Galactic Confederation had welcomed Earth as a protectorate planet. Admiral Jiwoo sat in her office aboard the Thunderbolt, reading reports from Earth's secret research teams. They had been studying the small bits of alien technology the Confederation had shared, learning far more than the aliens intended. "Admiral, you have a visitor," announced the computer. The door slid open to reveal Ambassador Dury, one of the few Confederation representatives who treated humans with respect. Her 4 eyes blinked nervously. "I shouldn't be here," Dury said quietly. "But I thought you should know. The Razan Empire has moved their fleet to the edge of Confederation space." Jiwoo frowned. "The Razan Empire? You've never mentioned them before." "They are our greatest enemies. Violent, expansionist. They control nearly a quarter of the galaxy," Dury explained. "They've deployed 10 dreadnoughts to the Antares system. The Confederation Council has called an emergency meeting." "Thank you for telling me," Jiwoo said. After Dury left, Jiwoo contacted General Minho, Earth's military representative to the Confederation. "We need to attend that meeting," she told him, "and prepare the Thunderbolt for possible action." The Emergency Council gathered in the Great Hall of the Confederation mothership. Representatives from 20 alien worlds argued loudly. Humans were barely noticed, sitting in the back as the least important members. The Confederation military commander, General Visk, stood at the center. His scaled skin shimmered under the lights as he showed a holographic map of the disputed region. The Razan dreadnoughts have taken positions around these 3 planets. Their weapons are powered, their shields are active. They've ignored all communications. "What forces do we have in the area?" asked a representative from the lizard-like Sana species. 8 battle cruisers and 12 support vessels, Visk replied. "Not enough to challenge 10 dreadnoughts. We're sending reinforcements, but they won't arrive for 6 days." General Minho stood up. "Earth offers assistance. The Thunderbolt is currently in the neighboring sector. We could reach Antares in 2 days." The room fell silent, then erupted in laughter. Tark, the blue-skinned diplomat who had first toured the Thunderbolt, laughed loudest. "Your primitive vessel?" he said. "It would be destroyed in seconds. The Razan would think we were insulting them by sending such a ship." "Any help is better than no help," Minho argued. Visk waved his hand dismissively. "The human vessel may travel to the edge of the Antares system and remain on standby as rear support, but it must stay out of the battle." Back on the Thunderbolt, Admiral Jiwoo gathered her senior officers. Commander Taewoo, her second-in-command, displayed the latest intelligence on the Razan fleet. "Their dreadnoughts are impressive," he said. "Energy shields stronger than anything the Confederation has. Quantum phase weapons that can bypass standard defenses." "Good thing we don't use standard defenses," said Chief Engineer Heejin with a small smile. Jiwoo nodded. "Activate all hidden systems. It's time to show what humans can really do." Throughout the massive ship, crews worked around the clock. Panels that had remained sealed during the alien inspection now opened, revealing technology that would have shocked the Confederation representatives. Officer Sunju supervised the activation of the True Bridge, hidden deep within the ship. Adaptive shield systems online, phase shift engines ready, nanite repair systems active. "What about the weapons?" Jiwoo asked. "All operational," Taewoo reported. "The electromagnet cannons, plasma torpedoes, and drone swarms are prepped and ready. As the Thunderbolt approached the Antares system, they received a transmission from General Visk. Human vessel, maintain. Your position at these coordinates. Do not advance further without direct orders." "Understood, General," Jiwoo replied politely. "We'll stay right where you want us." After ending the transmission, she turned to her crew. "Battle stations. The Razans have already engaged the Confederation's forward fleet. Their ships are falling quickly. But our orders," Sunju began, "were given by people who think we're primitives with a metal box held together with hope," Jiwoo finished. "It's time they learned what humans are really capable of." The Thunderbolt's engines flared bright blue as it accelerated toward the battle, leaving its assigned position behind. On the main screen, they could see the Confederation ships already breaking apart under the Razan attack. The supposedly primitive human vessel was about to change everything. The space around Antares glowed with destruction. The Confederation fleet struggled against the mighty Razan Empire ships. The Razon dreadnoughts were massive black vessels shaped like arrowheads, each one 5 times larger than the largest Confederation ship. Their weapons cut through the defenders' shields like they weren't even there. From the bridge of the Thunderbolt, Admiral Jiwoo watched the battle unfold. The main screen showed Confederation ships breaking apart under the relentless assault. "Admiral, we're receiving urgent communications from General Visk," said Officer Sunju, her voice tight with tension. Visk's angry face appeared on the screen. "Human vessel, return to your assigned position immediately. This is not a request." "I apologize." "General," Jiwoo replied calmly, "we seem to be experiencing communication problems. Your transmission is breaking up. Do not engage the enemy. Your primitive ship will be destroyed instantly." Jiwoo nodded to Sunju, who cut the transmission. "Communication problems are terrible, aren't they?" The bridge crew smiled grimly as they continued toward the battle. "Sir," reported Officer Donghun from the sensor station, "I'm analyzing the Razon attack patterns. Their quantum weapons pass right through standard shields by shifting, slightly out of phase with normal space." "Perfect," said Jiwoo. "That's exactly what we hoped for. Prepare countermeasures." Commander Taewoo stood at the weapons console. "All systems ready, Admiral. The Razons haven't detected us yet. They're too focused on the Confederation ships." "Let's introduce ourselves," Jiwoo said. "Target the nearest dreadnought. Activate phase-matching shields. Deploy Drone Swarm Alpha." The Thunderbolt's outer hull began to change. Panels that had appeared to be simple metal plating slid open, revealing rows of launch tubes. Hundreds of small objects shot out into space, each one barely larger than a human hand. On the Confederation command ship, General Visk watched in horror as the human vessel approached the battle. "Those fools will get themselves killed," he snarled, "and then we'll have to explain to Earth how we let their only space vessel be destroyed." Ambassador Dury stood nearby, her 4 eyes narrowed in concentration. "General, I'm detecting unusual energy readings from the human ship." "What kind of readings?" "I'm not sure, but they're nothing like what our scans showed 3 months ago." The first Razon dreadnought noticed the approaching Earth vessel. A single blast from its smallest weapon should have been enough to destroy the primitive ship. The energy beam shot across space, and then something impossible happened. The beam hit the Thunderbolt's shields, but instead of passing through or exploding against them, the energy seemed to be absorbed. The human ship glowed briefly, then continued forward undamaged. On the Thunderbolt's bridge, Chief Engineer Hyejin reported shield absorption at 87%, energy successfully captured and redirected to weapons systems. "They're targeting us with everything now," Taewoo said as the sensor screens lit up with incoming attacks. "Good," Jiwoo replied. "More power for us. Deploy the drone swarm." The tiny drones that had launched earlier suddenly activated. They flew toward the nearest Razon ship in perfect formation, moving too fast and too small to be targeted effectively. When they reached the dreadnought's shields, they didn't try to break through. Instead, they attached themselves to the shield itself. "Nanite infiltration beginning," reported Officer Sunju. "The drones are reprogramming the Razon shield frequency." The massive dreadnought's shields flickered, then failed completely. The Razons, so confident in their superior technology, had never expected an attack on the programming of their shields, rather than the shields themselves. "Main weapons locked on target," Taewoo announced. "Ready to fire." "Show them what humans can do," ordered Jiwoo. The Thunderbolt's front section opened like a blooming flower, revealing a massive cannon that had been hidden inside the ship's structure. It fired not energy or ordinary projectiles, but a stream of particles in quantum superposition, matching the Razon's own technology, but modified in ways they couldn't understand. The beam struck the shieldless dreadnought, cutting through its hull from bow to stern. Secondary explosions rippled along its length as the mighty vessel split apart. Throughout the Confederation fleet, alien crews stared in disbelief. The primitive human ship had just destroyed a Razon dreadnought in a single shot. And now, the Thunderbolt was turning toward the next target. The explosion of the first Razon dreadnought stunned everyone watching. For several seconds, both the Confederation and Razon fleets seemed frozen in shock. The primitive human vessel had just destroyed one, of the most powerful warships in the galaxy. On the Confederation command ship, General Visk couldn't believe his eyes. "Impossible," he whispered. "Their specifications showed nothing like this capability." Ambassador Duri stood beside him, her 4 eyes wide with surprise. "They showed us what they wanted us to see, General." The Raison were the first to recover from the shock. 5 dreadnoughts turned away from the Confederation fleet and focused all their weapons on the Thunderbolt. Deadly energy beams and quantum torpedoes streaked through space toward the human ship. Admiral Jiwoo remained calm as the attacks approached. "Adaptive shields at full power. Prepare evasive pattern Delta." The Thunderbolt moved with surprising speed and grace for such a large vessel. It twisted and rolled, avoiding most of the incoming fire. What couldn't be dodged was caught by the ship's shields, which glowed brighter with each hit. "Shield absorption at maximum capacity," reported Chief Engineer Heejin. "Converting energy to weapon power. Deploy all fighter squadrons," ordered Jiwoo. The sides of the Thunderbolt opened, revealing hangar bays that the aliens had never seen during their inspection. From these bays flew hundreds of small fighter craft, but with no pilots. Each was controlled by advanced AI systems, moving with perfect coordination, impossible for organic pilots. "Fighter swarm deployed," confirmed Commander Taewoo, beginning attack pattern Hornet's Nest. The small craft swarmed around the Raison dreadnoughts like angry insects, targeting weapon systems and engines. Too small to be hit by the big guns, and too numerous to track, they caused chaos among the enemy fleet. On the bridge of the Raison flagship, Commander Zetal was furious. "What trickery is this? The humans are supposed to be primitives." "Our intelligence was wrong," his second officer replied. "Their technology is unlike anything we've encountered. It's as if they've studied everyone else's systems and improved upon them all." The Thunderbolt's main cannon fired again, slicing through a second dreadnought. As the enemy ship broke apart, something unexpected happened. Small devices launched. From the human vessel attached themselves to the floating pieces of wreckage. Immediately, the debris began to move with purpose, forming a protective cloud around the Thunderbolt. "What are they doing?" General Visk asked as he watched from the Confederation ship. A science officer answered, "They appear to be using nanite technology to repurpose the destroyed ship's materials. They're building something in the middle of the battle." The repurposed materials formed into dozens of orbital weapon platforms that immediately began firing on the Raison ships. It was as if the Thunderbolt had spawned a small fleet from the remains of its enemies. Admiral Jiwoo opened a channel to the remaining Raison ships. "This is Admiral Jiwoo Park of Earth. Your attack on Confederation space ends now. Withdraw your vessels or we will be forced to continue our demonstration." There was a long pause before Commander Zetal's face appeared on the screen. His skin was pale blue, his eyes narrow with rage and fear. "What are you? How did primitives develop such technology?" Jiwoo smiled slightly. "We're humans. We've been watching the galaxy for longer than you know. We learn, we adapt, we improve. You made the mistake of judging us by what we showed you, rather than what we are." 3 more Raison dreadnoughts turned away from the battle, preparing to retreat. The remaining 2 launched a desperate attack on the Thunderbolt. The human ship didn't even try to evade. It absorbed the full force of their assault, its shields glowing brighter than a small sun. "Energy absorption complete," Heejin reported. "All weapon systems at 200% capacity. Target both remaining dreadnoughts," ordered Jiwoo. "End this." The Thunderbolt fired all weapons simultaneously. The Raison ships didn't stand a chance. They erupted into expanding clouds of debris and gas, marking the end of the battle. Throughout the Confederation fleet, crews stood in silent awe. The supposedly primitive humans had just defeated 5 Raison dreadnoughts, something the entire Confederation Navy had never managed to do. The day after the battle, Admiral Jiwoo and her senior officers were summoned to the Confederation Grand Council. The massive chamber was filled with representatives from all 32 member species. The mood was tense. Some aliens looked at the humans with newfound respect, others with fear, most with confusion. Supreme Counselor Maru stood at the center, platform, his long silver robes shimmering under the lights. "Admiral Jiwoo Park of Earth, you deliberately misled the Confederation about your technological capabilities. This is a serious breach of trust. Jiwoo stepped forward, her uniform crisp and perfect. With respect, Counselor, we never lied. You asked to inspect our ship. We showed you our ship. You made assumptions about what you saw. You concealed advanced weapon systems, General Visk shouted from his seat. You hid true engines, shield technology, and AI fighters. Did you ask to see our weapon systems? Jiwoo replied calmly. Did you ask about our shields or fighters? No. You looked at our hull and our bridge and decided we were primitive. Commander Taewoo added, Your inspectors spent 15 minutes on our ship. They scanned only the outer sections. They asked no questions about hidden capabilities. Tark, the blue diplomat who had laughed at the Thunderbolt, stood up. Why the deception? If you possess such advanced technology, why hide it? Admiral Jiwoo looked around the chamber. Earth has watched the stars for centuries. We detected your ships and communications long before you found us. We observed how new species were treated when they joined the Confederation. She paused, letting her words sink in. Species with powerful technology were seen as threats. They faced restrictions, sanctions, even military action. Species with simple technology were ignored, underestimated, but left alone to develop. A murmur ran through the crowd as many counselors shifted uncomfortably. So we showed you what you expected to see, a young species with basic space technology, nothing threatening, nothing worth controlling. Ambassador Dury stepped forward. The human strategy was clever. While we treated them as primitives, they studied our technology, our tactics, our weaknesses. Is that true? Maru asked Jiwoo. Of course. Humans have always been good at learning and adapting. Each piece of technology you shared, we studied and improved. The little you showed us taught us much about what was possible. Chief Engineer Hyejin added, Your quantum shields were impressive, but they had flaws. Your engine designs were efficient, but could be better. We took the best ideas from every species and made them our own. General Visk banged his fist on the table. This is exactly why we should be careful with new species. They've been spying on us, stealing our technology. We saved your fleet, Jiwoo reminded him. Without the Thunderbolt, the Razon would have destroyed every ship you sent. The chamber fell silent as everyone considered this truth. Finally, Counselor Maru spoke again. What does Earth want from the Confederation now? Clearly you don't need our protection or our technology. Jiwoo smiled. We want partnership, not protectorate status. Humans can offer new perspectives, new solutions. We solved problems your scientists thought impossible because we approached them differently. Ambassador Dury nodded. The humans have proven their worth. They chose to help us despite our condescension. They fought for us when they could have simply watched. The Council debated for hours. Eventually, they voted. Earth would become a full member of the Confederation with equal rights and responsibilities. The Thunderbolt would be the first of many human vessels to join the Confederation fleet. As they left the chamber, Tark approached Admiral Jiwoo. His blue face showed no amusement now, only respect. I will never understand how a species so young could advance so quickly, he said. Jiwoo smiled. That's the thing about being underestimated, Ambassador. When everyone laughs at you, you have all the time in the world to prove them wrong.